some people's executive function isn't there in the way that means that if, like, to some people, the idea of can you put the toilet roll tubes away is a single task. To other people's brains, that is 9 tasks, because it is look around for the toilet roll tubes, pick all the toilet roll tubes up, think about where the toilet roll tubes go, check that you're not in the way of it. Have you also made this thing, steps? Wemma's holding up a thing that says steps. So there's something in there which is like executive function wise. Sometimes I think we don't necessarily acknowledge what we're asking someone to do could be many, many, many steps, and whether that's a cognitively fair thing to ask someone to do right at the end. In the same way that, like, we have more and more moved to, like, when I started my forest school practice, we would do like an opening circle and a closing circle, and as time goes on, that closing circle is just like less and less, or it's like earlier in the session, because it's such high demand in terms of thinking skills that to ask someone to do that after they've been, like, you know, this week particularly, like, baked in the woods for 6 hours, cooking in the sun in a hammock, like, and then the last thing they do before I go is, like, you know, if I were to do a closing circle and be like, tell me something deep and introspective before you go, like, people would just be like, I have nothing. This is not the time. There's something in there about that. In terms of community, though, and this is maybe where my, like, devil's advocate thought is, as time has gone on, I've moved in terms of how I think about my role as being a facilitator of sessions and a facilitator of skills. You know, like, people will come to my sessions, and at the start of it, it's like they will go away with, like, bush fire lighting skills, and they will go away with knife skills, and they will go away with, you know, these kind of, like, Instagrammable forest school skills. And then it's moved, and then I feel like, oh, maybe I'm like a mediator, and I facilitate, like, social skills more than the practical skills of that, like, bushcraft X, Y, Z. And in our sessions more and more, we talk about, like, that we're here to, like, hold space for people. We are the holding this space in which they can play. And I was talking to someone yesterday about an evolution that I've been on. I promise I will get to a point in a minute. I'm so sorry. I was talking to someone about the journey I've been on in terms of, like, early on, if someone came up to me and said, like, I need a bow and arrow, I would have really gone, like, well, we've got the time and the space. Let's go for a walk. Let's go and, like, cut the stick, and we'll bring it back, and we'll whittle it down, and I'll teach you the knots, and, like, we'll go and make the bow. And I would have been quite hardline in that, like, you got it out, you put it away kind of way. I would have been like, if you want this resource, you have to make this resource, you know? And that would have been where I was. Whereas my thinking around that now is a bit more like, okay, I'm here to hold space and facilitate play. And so if I can see that there's a group of people playing Attack the Castle, and you need a bow to join in with that game, you're not actually asking me to facilitate a bow making workshop. You're just asking for a tool. And yes, maybe there's long-term learning and there's all these things, but actually it will take me less than 2 minutes to give you a bow that you can then go and use it. And maybe that's then the spark that next week you go, I'd like to make my own. You know, like, there's a facilitator thing, there's a space holder role there. When I think about tidying up, I sometimes put that in my role as a space holder, where I'm like, actually, what I'm here to do is to facilitate play. These people are paying me for a space in which I facilitate play, and me being the one that tidies up, or does the majority of tidying up, maybe,